Senator Ndume has just dropped what many are calling a bombshell revelation that is shaking the entire Nigerian political space right now. The senator representing Borno South has come out publicly to say that the tax reform bill that was passed by the National Assembly is completely different from what President Bola Tinubu eventually signed into law. According to Ndume, Nigerians have been deceived and the version of the law now in effect is not what lawmakers approved. This is huge because it raises serious questions about transparency, due process, and whether the legislative arm of government is being undermined. Let me break down what is happening here because this story is absolutely wild. The tax reform bills have been one of the most controversial pieces of legislation in recent times. When they were being debated in the National Assembly, there was massive pushback from various quarters, particularly from northern senators and governors who felt that certain provisions would negatively impact their regions. The bills were eventually passed after intense deliberations, amendments, and what seemed like a final agreement on the terms. Nigerians were told that the National Assembly had done its job, scrutinized the bills properly, and sent it to the president for signing. That should have been the end of the story, right? Well, not according to Senator Ndume. The senator is now alleging that between the time the National Assembly passed the tax bills and when President Tinubu signed them, significant changes were made to the documents. He claims that what the president signed is not the same as what lawmakers approved. This is not just a minor administrative issue. If what Ndume is saying is true, it means that the entire legislative process has been compromised. It means that after elected representatives of the people debated, amended, and passed a law, someone or some people went behind closed doors and changed the content before it received presidential assent. That would be a constitutional crisis of the highest order. Now, Ndume has been one of the most vocal critics of these tax reform bills from the very beginning. He has consistently argued that the reforms, particularly the value-added tax distribution formula, would hurt northern states and create economic imbalances across the federation. His opposition has been fierce and he even faced backlash from some quarters who accused him of playing regional politics. But this latest allegation is different. He's not just saying he disagrees with the policy anymore. He is saying that the democratic process itself has been violated. He is saying that lawmakers were essentially tricked into thinking they had passed one version of the law when in reality something else entirely was signed into effect. The implications of this are absolutely staggering. First, it raises questions about who exactly made these alleged changes. Was it the presidency? Was it officials in the executive arm who felt certain provisions needed to be altered? Or was it a clerical error that somehow went unnoticed? If it was deliberate, then we are talking about a situation where the separation of powers that is supposed to protect Nigerian democracy has been breached. The legislature passes laws, the executive implements them. That is how it is supposed to work. The executive does not get to rewrite laws after they have been passed. That is not how democracy functions anywhere in the world. Second, if Senator Ndume is correct, then every single aspect of this tax law is now questionable. How do Nigerians know what is actually in the law? How do businesses know how to comply? How do state governments know what their VAT allocations will be? The uncertainty this creates is damaging not just politically, but economically as well. Investors need stability and clarity. Citizens need to trust that the laws governing them were made through proper channels. If that trust is broken, the consequences ripple through the entire system. What makes this even more interesting is the timing. Just when Nigerians thought the dust had settled on the tax reform debate and implementation was about to begin, this controversy erupts. Social media has been on fire since Ndume made these statements. People are demanding answers. They want to know if their senators and representatives were played. They want to know if the president was aware of any changes or if this happened without his knowledge. They want transparency and they want it now. If you are enjoying this breakdown and want to stay updated on all the latest developments in Nigerian politics and current affairs, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Stories like this are developing fast and you need to be in the know. The presidency has not yet issued an official response to Senator Ndume's allegations, which is also raising eyebrows. Usually, when such serious accusations are made, there is a swift rebuttal or clarification from the government. The silence so far is deafening. Meanwhile, other senators and members of the House of Representatives are being pressed to comment. Did they notice any discrepancies? Have they compared the version they passed with the version that was signed? These are questions that demand answers. What is also fascinating is how this fits into the broader narrative about President Tinubu's administration and its relationship to the National Assembly. There have been ongoing debates about whether the legislature is truly independent or whether it has been reduced to a rubber stamp for executive decisions. If Ndume's claims are validated, it would give serious ammunition to those who argue that democratic institutions in Nigeria are being weakened. On the other hand, if his claims turn out to be unfounded or exaggerated, it could be used to dismiss legitimate concerns about the tax reforms themselves. For ordinary Nigerians, the stakes are incredibly high. These tax reforms affect everyone. They affect how much you pay for goods and services, how much revenue your state government receives, and ultimately how much development happens in your community. If the law that is now in effect is different from what was publicly debated and agreed upon, then Nigerians have a right to be outraged. Democracy only works when the process is transparent and when those in power are held accountable. The coming days and weeks will be crucial. Will other lawmakers come forward to corroborate Ndume's claims? Will documents be released showing exactly what was passed versus what was signed? Will the presidency finally break its silence and address these allegations head-on? These are the questions everyone is asking. This story is far from over, and as it develops, we'll be here to bring you every single detail. Make sure you like this video, share it with everyone who needs to know what is really going on, and join the conversation in the comments below. What do you think of Senator Ndume's allegations? Do you believe the National Assembly was deceived, or is this political maneuvering? Let us know your thoughts because your voice matters in this democracy. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we will see you in the next update.